the 8, we have 6 national championships here. And we have 2 more that they didn't vote us. 66 and 77. Out of the 8, we have 12 SEC titles. Their record against Auburn was 17-3. We have 3 Hall of Famers, 2 law degrees. We have a 40-year corporate man who just recently retired from 3M and has started a new career in fishing. We have an ESPN featured guy on 30 for 30. We have a real estate developer, and we have a person who knows the Bible as well as anybody that I know. In chronological order tonight, Bobby Johns. Bobby was an All-SEC, All-American defensive back in 65, 66, and 67. 65 national championship team. We won it in 66. I don't care. We don't play for ties around here. That team allowed 37 points for the entire season. Yes, sir. And 37 points happens to be a good number for number 37. And if he were here, there would be a guy that would take every bit of credit for Bobby Johns becoming All-American and All-SEC. That would be his position coach, Mal Moore. On a personal note, when I was 10 years old, I snuck into the University of Alabama dressing room and got an autograph from my hero, Bobby Johns. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Johns. Next up is Ricky Davis. All SEC honors and a member of the 73 National Championship team. He is a sports attorney here in Birmingham. And he holds a unique honor, and that is being a part of a secondary where all 4 positions were all SEC at the same time. Coach Bryant and Mal Moore would often say the 3 words, show your class. Ricky Davis has done that for the 45 years that I have known him. And on a personal note, I'd like to tell you something that happened a couple of months ago. Ricky Davis and I were having a conversation about one of our teammates joining or getting elected to the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. And in that conversation, I asked Ricky, I said, do you mind if I write a nominating letter on your behalf? He deserves it. And Ricky Davis says, Andy, I appreciate that, but I wouldn't want a letter on my behalf to interrupt what we're trying to do for my other teammate. That's Ricky Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Murray Legg. The most bow-legged defensive back in the history of the Southeastern Conference. An All-SEC member of the 1978 National Championship team and a member of one of the participants in Alabama's greatest defensive play ever, the goal line stand. I want to take this moment to try to change a perception here, and that is about the goal line outstanding. That play, 3 people got credit for a tackle on the final play, and 2 of them were defensive backs. One of them is on stage, and the other one is sitting right here, Mike Clemens. Murray is a successful real estate developer, great guy. His father started the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, was the director of that for many years. Please welcome Murray Lick. Uh-oh, Jim Bob Harris. Y'all want to know why we keep beating Georgia's rump every year? Every time we play them, you have to look no further than here. Jim Bob Harris, an all-state quarterback from Athens, Georgia. His father worked at the business school, his brother played golf there. Georgia should have known he was coming to Alabama because he had red hair and white eyebrows. He's a member of the 79 and 78 national championship teams, played in the 315 game. He worked for 3M and recently retired last month. And finally, I'd like to add this note. Jim Bob and his son Truett, who played at Alabama, I think I'm right in saying this, hold the record for the most University of Alabama Athletic Department issued rings in the history of Alabama football. They hold 15 rings between the 2 of them. Jeremiah Castile. All SEC and All-American. Jeremiah played on the 79 national championship team, the 315 game, and he secured Coach Bryant's last win by making an unbelievable pass breakup against the University of Illinois. Simply put, I have 3 stepsons. And out of any player I've ever met at Alabama, I would like for my sons to grow up to be Jeremiah Castile. Amen. He's one of the most humble men I know, and yet one of the most inspiring people I know. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremiah Castile. We have one that's in ranks.
He's here. He's here.
Well, come on up here, Lee Osmond. Lee played in 87, 88, and 89. He led the SEC in 1988 with 6 interceptions. And many people remember Lee for his 98-yard interception against LSU of a 2-point play that scored and turned the momentum in the game. His teammates fondly recall that play by stating that Lee almost got a delay of the game penalty during the play. The LSU players were too tired to catch up to him, and the Alabama players were too tired to go hug him. He is the former law partner of Jimmy Sasser, chapter president. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Osmond. Chris Donovan. A member of the 92 team, we all remember the infamous game where Brother Oliver put 10 defensive players on the line of scrimmage against Miami. We remember that. But the question I want to pose y'all is this. Do you remember Alabama's closest game in the 92 season? Well, yep. The one that I had in mind, though, was the Alabama-Tennessee game. And in that game, with 1 minute to go, with Alabama leading 17-10, there's a little guy, number 21, that makes an unbelievable interception to win the game. Chris Knight. And last but not least, as Coach Oliver would say, hot a mighty nut. Antonio Lang. Antonio's accomplishments are just simply gaudy. All SEC, All American, MVP of the first SEC championship game, member of the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, national championship in 1992, and one of the funniest and best personalities to ever wear the crimson jersey. He's unique out of this group in that Brother Bill Oliver and Coach Saban both coached him. He had an interception against Auburn, returned it for a touchdown, and Auburn hadn't caught him yet. He did the same thing against Florida. Won the game with that interception, and Florida hadn't caught him yet. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the 8 greatest defensive backs to ever wear the crimson jersey. Thank y'all, and we appreciate it. Now, Alabama has had these 8 great players. We've had Don Hudson, Bart Starr, Namath, Stabler, Hanna, Newsom, Stevenson, Ingram, and Henry. We've also had national championship coaches, Thomas, Bryant, Stallings, and Saban. And we have one other category where we are national championship caliber also. Names like Burt Bank, John Forney, Eli Gold, and tonight's Master of Ceremonies, Chris Stewart. Chris, come on.
That is the nicest introduction I've ever had. Let me tell you how much I appreciate it. And I'm going to do like y'all are doing. I'm going to sit out here with you because I'm going to enjoy this too. If I don't mess it up, I think we all will. Here's what I want to know, gentlemen. How many of y'all walked on campus at Alabama thinking you're going to be quarterbacks? That's what I thought. Now, how many on the back row are lying? It's crazy. Coach Johns, let's start with you. I say Coach Johns because that's what I heard my brother refer to you as for years, and that's how I know you. So tell me, and I'm sorry, should have handled that. Don't pass that around. How much has it changed? Because I'm going to guess there's a pretty good percentage of guys outside of the linemen that walked onto campus your playing days that were quarterbacks in high school, weren't they?
Well, when I got down there were 2 other quarterbacks. I thought, something's not working.
I missed dress rehearsal, Coach. I'm sorry.
We good?
We're good. Thank you.
I've told the story already a couple times, but when I went to Alabama, there were 3 quarterbacks on the freshman list. Myself, another guy from Mobile, another guy from Gulf Shores, and his name was Kenny Stabler.
Heard of it.
For some reason, they thought he was a better quarterback than I was.
Understand?
That was a big disappointment. I'm still struggling to get over that. But when I got to Alabama, what I realized, I started looking around and getting to know the players. About half the players were quarterbacks who had been told before they got to Tuscaloosa that they would be another position. So that was the trend. They would sign quarterbacks and running backs and move them into those other positions.
Ricky, it's amazing how they tell you when they're recruiting you how wonderful you are. It's about 2 weeks. They're breaking you down pretty quick, aren't they?
Well, they didn't tell me, they just told me when they recruited me that they would put me where they thought that I could help the team the most. And so nobody ever said you're going to come in, but they did say our freshman year, if you remember, in '71 was when Coach Bryant made the decision to go to the Wishbone.
Sure.
And like Bobby, I was kind of, when I dreamed of going to Alabama, I wanted to be the next Joe Namath. You know, that was what I envisioned doing. And then I get to Tuscaloosa, they go to the Wishbone, which was not the offense that I wanted to run, but I didn't really have a choice. Didn't have a choice to play quarterback. But then also, I was put on defense. But you know, Coach Oliver, who a lot of these guys played for, you know, back then, as a freshman, you weren't eligible to play on the varsity, so you had the freshman year, we had the freshman team, and you were more or less the punching bag for the varsity, because it didn't matter if you got hurt because you had a year to get well.
Right.
But Coach Oliver was a tremendous coach. I think all these guys, I mean, he was played, you know, 4 years in the NFL. He was the best position coach, defensive backfield coach that I played for anywhere. But yeah, I wanted to play quarterback, and it took me about a year or so to get over that. But then in the long run, it worked out best.
Murray, you were a coach's son, so when you wound up in Tuscaloosa, you were used to the head coach going, son, you're going to do whatever's best for the team regardless. It don't really matter what you want to play. Isn't that pretty much what you kind of grew up with?
It is. When I signed, there were 5 people who signed at quarterback when I signed. Of course, Jeff Rutledge was one of them.
Right.
And so when I went down there, Jeff went to the varsity. The 4 of us stayed on the junior varsity team or the freshman team. And so it wasn't until that spring, but during that fall, I played running back, I played split end, I played some free safety, some strong safety, so I didn't know where I was going to be.
Right.
But they moved me in the spring to the strong safety, and that's where I stayed.
Jim Bob, were you disappointed, or did you kind of know what you were going to get when you got moved?
Well, there's a couple of things. Coming out of Athens, Georgia, the first thing that Coach Bryant forgot to tell me is he had already signed 3 other All-American quarterbacks.
He failed to drop that in on you?
That was not part of the.
That wasn't on a whole in-home visit. He wasn't running that by you.
And we had Jeff Rutledge and Stedman Shealy and Don Jacobs, Alan Gray. So it didn't take a couple of weeks. It took him about 3 days to call me up in his office. And he had some unique words that I learned playing for Coach Bryant. He said, son, you can stay at quarterback, and we'll let you run the meat squad, which is about the 3rd string offense playing against the 1st team defense, and that's no fun. Or we'll move you over to defensive back, and maybe you get to play a little football. And he said, we'll leave you at quarterback till you holler calf rope. So I had to look that up and figure that out, but I told him right up front, I'd rather move and have a chance to play and be a part of the team if I could.
Right. Hand that to Antonio, because I got to have fun with this one, like anything else. You didn't want any part of quarterback, did you? Because they hit the quarterback, and I've had enough conversation with you. You didn't want to hit nobody, and you didn't want nobody hitting you. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I was recruited as a wide receiver, and I probably had the shortest stint of any player up here in the position. We started our first day of practice, and we had a 10-minute endo period, and I went through the endo period at wide receiver, and then we blew the whistle for the next period, and Coach Oliver called me over there with him, and I said, I'm supposed to be going to receivers. And his statement to me was, if you want to catch the ball that bad, intercept it. You can win it all you want to. That was the end of it for me, a wide receiver. I thought I was a wide receiver until I looked over at Coach Oliver in that second period, and that was it. So I became a wide receiver on the other side of the ball.
Chris, there had to be a time you were quarterback somewhere. But when did you make that move?
Well,
to the other side?
actually, we probably get this. As y'all know, I started my career at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And coming out of high school, I was a quarterback, signed with Vanderbilt to play quarterback there. So same as these guys. So I always dreamed of playing quarterback. I signed with Vanderbilt as a quarterback and went through the first morning two-a-day practice. And just like Antonio, got called up the coach's office, said, we think we're going to move you. And I was like, was I that bad? I mean, wow. So yeah, I was a quarterback through high school. And you know, obviously when I got to Vanderbilt, I was at quarterback, and that lasted a half of practice.
But that's probably, we got a lot of life insurance agents in here. Quarterback at Vanderbilt, that was good to get moved quickly, wasn't it?
Very much so.
Okay.
They were running the triple option at that time, and that was not probably a safe plan there. So I think I got the better end of that deal, without question.
I'm just picturing you guys with a defensive back the size of Lee Osmond phoned it in. Did you never got stuck at quarterback, Lee, did you?
Lord knows.
Never pee-wee anything?
No,
Okay.
I came to Alabama as a wide receiver. That's what I played. I'd never played defensive back
Well, good Lord.
in my life.
How much did they have to lie to y'all to get y'all on campus? Because ain't none of you brought in as a DB.
Coach Perkins had his ways.
Yes, he did. That he did.
But I started off at Alabama actually a tight end because I was a little bit bigger than a normal wide receiver, so I played tight end. The Kickoff Classic, in fact, I was number 81, and I was playing off tight end from Howard Cross, and we had some injuries. Rory Turner got hurt, Sean Lee got hurt, and then Coach Perkins calls me in. I thought I was in trouble. He says, "Hey, you ever played DB?" I said, "No." He said, "Think you could play it?" I said, "Will he get me on the field?" He said, "It might." I'll do it. So, played defensive back. Loved it.
A lot of you guys, y'all look good shape. I still contend, and I said to somebody the other day, the guy sitting next to you, Jeremiah Castile's the one. I don't know how many plays he could play, but I guarantee you, if we're gonna go one, you still got one left in you, don't you, Jeremiah? I got more. My apologies for the insult there. If you hadn't been who you were, and that's a legendary NFL DB, what would you have played? Water boy. It was all nothing in DB. Why did you like it so much? Why was that the right spot for you?
Because I love hitting.
That's why you're on one end of the table and Antonio's on the other. Is that? And Antonio getting far away from you now, it all makes sense. You love to hit, so you weren't big enough to play on line or linebacker, so you got back there and got a running start. Is that basically right?
Yeah.
Is your style now, the style you played then, it would still work in today's game, wouldn't it? For you, start there. Murray's already said yeah. So how about for you? Is the game, what they're doing on offense, change, or what you did and what you were taught, it would still apply in today's game? If we could drop your 19.
I would love to win today.
I bet you would.
I will win, Antonio. Instead of 19, instead you have about 50, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, with the way they throw the ball today.
Yeah, you got a lot of gigs.
Yeah.